What is a prep post-grad institution? The term prep school is short for college preparatory school. In essence, prep and post have the same meaning. They are institutions specifically designed to prepare student athletes for college lifestyle, both academically and athletically. So just to touch base a little bit more, elaborate a little bit more on this, prep school is basically just a stepping stone for student athletes to get into college, to prepare them for the college lifestyle, again, academically and athletically. Um, it's best used practice to start your prep school with one sport. So, for example, for us, Level Up Prep, we started off with basketball. Okay, I was a basketball trainer, like I mentioned before, and I love teaching basketball to athletes. The reason why I started off my high school with the sport of basketball, just because it was more convenient to start off and get clientels that way. So you would imagine how difficult it could be trying to recruit non-athletes or recruit regular students to your high school and get them to transfer from their already established high school to your high school, especially if you don't have a building or if you don't have anything of that nature to start out, right? So having a sport and having an opportunity to get them into college because of that sport, you offering that opportunity is the golden nugget in all this, right? So that's basically what I did starting my prep school. I started off with basketball. I showed them my experience and my already established resume as far as helping athletes get into college. And all I really did was just offer more value by offering academics to the equation. And I know you probably have a lot of questions about, what type of academics and how did you implement academics with no building or nothing of that nature. Just hold on tight and things will get a little bit more clear towards the end. And also keep this in mind that even when you start with one sport, you can always branch off to other respected sports. Meaning, if you like to coach soccer, you can start off with soccer and then eventually 2 or 3 years in, you can branch off to maybe football or basketball or baseball. So you can kind of see the promising future and the type of uh, financial growth that you can implement or you can have just by starting a simple high school with one sport. There's a lot of potential here. How will athletes get transportation? So this question correlates directly on what you want your approach to be, right? So again, for Level Up Prep, we went about it a more strategic way. So we recruited a lot of local players our first year, and I believe we had 2 or 3 out of state players, and we would basically have our local players who are driving pick up the players that are in the dorms that are out of state players. So we would make sure that the local players would be responsible for transportation for the out of state players in the dorms, if that makes any sense. So we would say, hey, before you come to practice, make sure you pick up so and so from the dorms because he doesn't have a ride to and from the dorms from practice. Or, hey, before we go to the game, make sure you pass by the dorms and pick up so and so to make sure he has a ride to the game. Things of that nature. Another way you can go about it if you want to be more upscaled about it, if it fits in your budget, is by buying or renting a shuttle bus. Okay. So that one is not as much cost effective, in my opinion, but it's very doable your first year because you're going to be making um, a pretty penny. So if it's in your budget and you want to implement that into your budget, Obviously, you won't net as much your first year, but if it's doable for you, you can do that. Another way to go about transportation, and this is another way that I used for my prep school, was I used to outsource the transportation duties to my assistant coaches. So, for example, if I had two assistant coaches, I would ensure that they would pick up the players from the dorms when they're coming to practice, to and from practice. Or if we're going to a game, I would make sure that those players were being picked up by my assistant coaches to the games and things of that nature. So that's another cost effective way that you can manage the transportation. And of course, if their facilities are not as far from the dorms of things of that nature, then you can, they can walk, they can maybe ride a bike, maybe city buses. Everything just depends on where you're currently living and how far everything is.